This is Outdoor Staycations reporting on Friday's unofficial 2020 Pigeon Forge Rod Run. For this video I walked the east side of the parkway, beginning at the Old Mill Light, and walked northward until I reached the Adventure Raceway. Oh, and by the way, at the end of this video, I have a short clip of the parking lot modifications made to the LaConte Center located on Teaster Lane. Looking under the hoods of these classics, I think about the simplicity of the older models, the lack of emission controls in modern electronics, which allow for lots of room to work on the engines. I love the color on this 1969 Chevy C10 pickup truck, which was produced from model years 1959 to 2002. This 1969 was the last year GM produced the 327 engine to be replaced by the 350. This cherry red Chevy pickup truck with this wooden bed is decked out with lots of chrome. This wooden bed concept caught my interest, so I decided to do a little research. I discovered that wooden beds consist of three parts. The first part being metal cross stills, which are actually part of the initial truck manufacturing process and part of the frame. The second part are metal reinforced bedded angle strips, which are bolted to the cross still. And finally the third part, the wooden bed planks themselves, which sit on top. Oh, by the way, the bedwood comes in a variety of colors, grains, and finishes. Yellow classic cars seem rarer this year, while red seem to be more plentiful. I would have liked to look under the hood of this 1971 Boss 351 Mach 1 Mustang with ram air. Makes me reminisce of my high school years while I drove to school in my friend's 1969 Mustang with a 289 engine. My first impression on this classic is if this truck came with a tow hook instead of a wooden bed, it could double for Mater, one of my favorite movies, as it came with awesome classic rock music. This beautifully well-preserved 1966 red Mustang with this white interior is equipped with the classic 289 engine with only 26,500 miles showing on the odometer. The first time I was introduced to a Bel Air was in 1989 when, after purchasing our first house, I looked over to my neighbor's garage and saw the garage door was only halfway closed and there were two light blue fins sticking out. In conversations with my elderly lady neighbor, I found out that the car was too long for her garage. But since her husband purchased the car in 1956 and died shortly thereafter, the car sits in a garage with only 1,750 miles on its odometer and has original everything. Here is a beautiful green Chevy C10 with a V8 engine, stick on the floor, an odometer that goes up to 100 miles an hour. The 327 engine you see in the Chevy in front of you were introduced into the Chevy models in 1962 and discontinued after the 1969 model due to the popularity of the 396 and 427 V8s. Looking inside this classic, it surprised me that the fuel gauge and odometer look just like the ones I had in my 1968 Dodge Cornet. In front of you you'll see a white Chevy Malibu, which was produced from 1964 through 1977. This Chevy Malibu's 350 engine came originally equipped with a 2-barrel carb system, but this 4-barrel carb upgrade was considered optional. I've heard of Willys before, but this is the first one I've ever seen. Willys, also known as Willys Overland Motors, produced vehicles from 1908 until it finally closed in 1963. Willys were not nationally recognized until World War II, when Willys introduced the Jeep line for the military with a quarter-ton 4x4 command recon vehicle. This 1948 CJ version was primarily introduced for farming and ranching. Some popular options at the time were front seat passengers, rear seats, center rearview mirror, canvas top, rear PTO, belt pulley drive, governor, snowplow, and generator. I can't tell you the year of manufacture on this Chevy, but the 400 on the air filter gives me a clue. 400 cubic inch engines, or 6.6 liters, were introduced into the coupes in 1970 and lasted only 10 years. I had to stop and admire this Chevy pickup truck with this light green exterior and burnt orange interior. And looking under the hood, I have to admit I'm a little confused with the engine configuration. It appears to be an inline 6-cylinder engine with 2 air filters and carburetors. I'm also intrigued by the exterior door between the engine and the cab for cooling the driver. I also have to admit that I love the condition and the coloring of this Chevy's wooden bed. This 1966 second-generation Chevy Nova comes equipped with the $159 upgraded Super Sports package. This Nova was only produced for 2 years in 1966 and 1967 and comes in 6 different engine sizes. When checking the sheet for sale on the dashboard, I noticed it says it has a 6-speed transmission along with an LS2 engine. This 1970 Monte Carlo can be yours for just $21,500. I love the green exterior, and to be honest, I love its black top. As I told you earlier, I have an affection for Bel Airs. In this next clip, you can choose from several different makes and models. I guess this must be Bel Air Row. If you don't like the cream color Bel Air, well, you can choose a red one. If you don't like a red Bel Air, well, here's a black one. As I watch him tie this truck down on the flatbed, I can tell you that somebody had made a sale. My wife was wondering why I took a picture of this tractor and where did I find it on the strip. Well, to be honest, it wasn't for sale. It was sitting on display in front of one of the breakfast restaurants. Anyone for a farm fresh breakfast? Driving down Teaster Lane, you can see the changes to come. To the left, high in the hillside, is LaConte's new parking lot, accessible by a new driveway located directly across from the island parking lot. With a new traffic light installed, along with new crosswalk signals, this should make getting in and out of the parking lot a lot easier. And finally, a raised pedestrian walkway crossing over Teaster Lane, allowing for safe access from the parking lot to the LaConte Center. This is Outdoor Staycation signing off on our Friday Rod Run 2020 video. Remember to go back and view our Wednesdays and Thursdays Rod Run video, and also subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on our future Saturday and Sunday Rod Run video.